Table, Harlequins fifth, 12 rounds to go in the Super League. It's all to play for between now and October the 10th and Old Trafford. Two sides here with their eyes firmly fixed on the grand final. And Fitzhenry will play at full-back for England, Sean Briscoe. Chaz Janssen comes in for Peter Fox, who also is in Paris. Then they go Wellham, Webster and young James Haynes, a 20-year-old. He makes his Super League debut. Paul Cook and Michael Dobson provide the experience. The forwards, Nick Fozzard making his 300th career appearance. Scott Morrell in the hooking role with Scott Wheeldon, Clint Newton the skipper, Chev Walker and Ben Gallier. And on the bench, Ben Fisher, Stanley Jean, Jason Netherton and Mikaeli Azu. The coach is Justin Morgan. For Harlequins, this is the way they have lined up. It's John Wells at fullback, then Chris Melling, Matt Gaffer, David Howell and Will Sharp. Danny Orr moves to stand off because Luke Dawn is out injured, so it gives a wonderful opportunity to young Luke Gale. He will play at scrum half. The forwards, Carl Tamata, Chad Randall, Louis McCarthy, Scarsbrook, Luke Williamson, Jason Golden and the captain Rob Purdom. And the bench here occupied by Ben Kay, Daniel Heckenberg, Matt Gardner, and we won't see him as a winger tonight according to his coach. He's the second row substitute, and Sam Thompson completes the 17 for coach Brian McDermott. So the Harlequins, they've conceded just 48 tries this year so far, Rovers 45. We're seeing two of the best defensive efforts in Super League on show tonight. Luke Dawn's got a broken leg, Danny Ward, Gareth Haggerty, Joe Mabou, Chad Robinson all out injured, Tony Clubb with England. It's a depleted Harlequin side, and that means that the bookmakers have made Hulkingston Rovers the firm favourites here tonight. They haven't finished inside the top two in the elite division for 24 years since they won the title in 1984-85 season. They were coached then by the great Roger Millwood. No Briscoe, no Fox there on international duty. Ben Cockayne is suspended. Captain Mick Vella is still an absentee. He is out injured. A 5-match winning sequence ended by Huddersfield last Friday on Sky Sports, but they stay second in the table thanks to the Catalan Dragons, who beat the Leeds Rhinos in Perpignan last Saturday night. And they, I know, have sold out parts of this ground here this evening for the visit of Harlequins. They are a club on the rise, Hulkingston Rovers. Phil Bentham is the match referee. He'll have to be careful because there are some orange piping visible on the Hulkingston Rovers jerseys. And of course, Mr. Bentham, he is dressed all in orange as well. He might see a little bit of the ball tonight if they just see a flash of orange coming out of the side of their eyes.
Well, I can't believe it, Eddie, that the official has been allowed to go out in that colour. It should be changed, and in fact they should get the message through, at least change it quickly. Okay, half time, but it's going to confuse a lot of people.
Well, there has been a change, I understand, in Hulkingston Rovers jerseys. The eagle-eyed of you will notice that they're playing in their away strip tonight. Rod?
That's right, Eddie. Both teams are in their away kit. Harlequins arrived in white. Their kit wasn't available. They were then told that that was fine, but KR had to change theirs to their orange, which is an away kit. This was arranged a couple of days in advance, but what wasn't the referee's kit. Phil Bentham turned up in white and thought, this looks a bit like the Harlequins away kit, changed it to orange. That kind of clashes with Hull KR, but it's the best of a bad job for Phil Bentham. And if you look in the defensive line there, it's not that easy. It's not that easy, is it, to distinguish Phil Bentham from the Hull KR defensive line, Eddie?
Indeed not. As I say, might be seeing a little bit of the ball here tonight, but this meanwhile is Daniel Fitzhenry. That's a great chase from the kick by Harlequins, and Rob Purdom was leading that chase with Carl Tamata.
Well, that surprised me. Brian McDermott, the Quins coach, surely would have picked out the fact that Leanson and James Haynes, the wingers, they really should have been pinpointed there, and they took it right down the throat of Daniel Fitzhenry, the full-back.
Move! Go!
This is Nick Fozzard now for Rovers. That was a barreling run, and he knocked Rob Purdom off his feet. Here goes Scott Morrell.
I think he felt it as well, Purdom. But what a run from Fozzard. Remember, he got a knock against Huddersfield last week. He's a tough hombre.
This now is John Wells, met by the tackle from Chev Walker. Scott Wheeldon was there as well. Here is Chris Melling now. A new 1-year extension to his contract, already signed by Chris Melling. And look at the colour clash with the referee. That is so confusing, it really is. And well, if he's changed one jersey from white to orange, maybe he should put white shorts on or something like that. But I mean, it seems strange to me that there is so much orange out there tonight.
Well, the thing is, we don't have anybody home kit anyway in black, do we? Simple as that. Someone go and get him a black shirt from somewhere.
Well, there are plenty of dark shirts knocking around as well. But anyway, look, let's concentrate now on the match. That's the most important thing. This is Chaz Jansen. Let's hope there is no confusion. There certainly isn't when Phil Bentham stands in the defensive line of Harlequins.
Well, you will have noticed there that when it came to the kick, they did exactly what I'm sure their coach would have told them. They put a lot of pressure on Lance, and no doubt they'll do the same on James Haynes on that far right side. But good defence from both sides.
Go. Good look.
Hull Kingston Rovers, they were beaten here in the Challenge Cup tie late on by Warrington Wolves, and as Phil told you earlier on in the programme tonight, and that is a charge down, by the way, by Chad Randall. Wonderful work from him. They suffered a bit of a cup hangover last year, did Hull Kingston Rovers. Justin Morgan desperately hoping that it won't be happening again. Doesn't want a case of deja vu here. This now is Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook. He's had tries in the last two matches, has Louis, and Randall is the dummy half, and he finds Danny Orr. Danny Orr gives it then to Matt Gaffer. Good tackle by Chris Wellham. Purdham gets it to Randall. Randall back this way to Orr, who goes back the same way towards Randall and runs straight into Nick Fozzard.
Very disciplined defence there by the Rovers.
Nice little dab through as well by Harlequins. Great chase, a wonderful little ding through it was by Luke Gale.
And that's all you need to do, is just apply that pressure, push them through, good positioning. And you can see here, good work by the hooker, Chad Randall. He's been in fine form.
Eddie, you've said that Harlequins are the underdogs here tonight, but I think they'll win and will win well. You've seen their kicks have been better than Hull Kingston Rovers to start with, and in fact when Hull KR had to kick the ball, the hooker, Chad Randall, managed to charge it down. That's a significant start for them. The other important area for Hull KR is they missed almost 50 tackles in last week's match. Can they improve defensively over 80 minutes?
Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook just testing that defence, and it was Scott Wilden who got to him first with Fozzard. There's Randall again. He finds Danny Orr, and Orr with a looping pass to Melling. Melling did well under pressure from Jansen and Wellham to A, stay in the field of play, and B, keep hold of the football. This is Gaffer. He'll dab it through, and Randall's after this. It's a try for Randall. I think Phil Bentham might hand it upstairs, will he? No! He got the call from both touch judges. Gaffer was onside, and it's his 100th appearance for Chad Randall. Randall with a beautiful run through the Rovers defence. It silenced the supporters here, and Randall, well, that's a fantastic way to mark your 100th appearance for Harlequins, the first player to reach that milestone, and he's just come up with his 6th try of the campaign.
And it's a beauty, isn't it? Didn't expect this. Kick right through. Randall knew exactly where he was going, and not surprisingly, he was happy with it. Where did this come from? Completely out of the air.
Lovely chip through, and here's a chance now for Purdham to add the extras, which he does. The best kicker in Super League by a long, long way, Rob Purdham, and Harlequins have a 6-0 lead here, courtesy of Randall's try.
Good work from Gaffer. They didn't anticipate that, the Rovers, and Fitzhenry completely out of position. And what a way, as Eddie has mentioned, to celebrate 100 games, and that is a fantastic combination.
4 wins from the last 5 matches, their best sequence of 2009. They've also won 4 of 6 away from home, have Harlequins. Top 4 very much in their sights tonight.
Yeah, I don't think that coach Justin Morgan will be very happy with Daniel Fitzhenry's effort there. He reacted very, very late indeed, but it was the culmination of the fact that Harlequins were winning the battle of the field position with the charge down and the double deal through the repeat set. So at the minute, winning on the scoreboard and winning performance-wise, the Harlequins.
John, does it surprise you that James Haynes, who is normally a fullback, is actually playing on the wing tonight, and Daniel Fitzhenry is the man that Justin Morgan has played at full-back.
I think he's gone for that experience, hasn't he? The back three are very similar, wing and full-back is very similar indeed, and he's just looked for Fitzhenry's experience, but he definitely came short with that kick through with Gaffer. This
is a tremendous kick from Gale, isn't it? Beautiful stuff. That's all they have to do. They've had the position. They've had the possession, they've been in touch.
This time last year, he was playing for Doncaster, a division below this, and yet in the start of this match, the 2 kicks he's put in so far have been as good as any that you will see. What's his defence like now when he and his team don't have the ball?
Brian McDermott very excited to see Luke Gale in the starting lineup tonight. He's devastated, of course, to have lost Luke Dawn to injury, but he says this is a golden opportunity for Luke Gale, and he thinks the world of him. And, well, he started very well, hasn't he?
He has, yes, and the half-back pair from Doncaster last year, there's Briggs at Featherstone, who moved up a division, and obviously Luke Gale, he's going to Super League.
This is Clint Newton, meanwhile, for Rovers. They get a quick play of the ball going. Good defence, though, again from Carl Tamata, very quickly in. And Dobson just on the 40-metre mark, but Melling moved in field and cut that out. No chance of a 40-20, and he goes around a few, and then he straightens it up, and Morel and Galea have to do the tackling.
Justin Morgan has a bit of problem out there. They're hanging back, they are not moving up as a unit. You can't just hang back and see what the opposition are going to throw at you.
Stay out of it, Scott.
This is Danny Orr, here is Rob Purdom. The Harlequins Mr. Motivator. Purdom, his 8th season at the club.
Surrender!
Randall waits at dummy half as Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook plays the ball to him. It's Gaffer, Morel quickly to him this time. Randall once again, they're 25 metres away from the line on the last tackle, Harlequins. Crossfield kick, and looking for John Wells here. That's a horrible bounce for Fitzhenry, bounces off him, and it's a goal line dropout.
Yeah, just got to touch the left hand to it there. Having a bit of a nightmare as Fitzhenry at the moment. Well out of position for Randall when Gaffer pulled the kick through, and he's finding it very difficult indeed. But take nothing away from the Quins. They've come here with a great action. Just keep kicking the ball non-stop.
Eddie, this is a scenario that Harlequins thrive on. Getting a goal line dropout. They're the second best team in the competition at scoring from this situation. They've got 5 more players now, 20 metres to the try line. Can they find a second try?
Here is Tamata driving it in once more for Harlequins. Wasn't the best goal line dropout, was it? It's given Harlequins possession so close to the Rovers line, but that's better defence from Chev Walker and Scott Morel. Danny Orr goes down, Randall gives it to Gale. Gale then looks for the runners on his inside, and Rovers hanging the back and not coming in to get the tackle in. It's Randall once again. Oh, it's easy for Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook. Second try for Harlequins in the opening 10 minutes, and it's all gone very, very quiet here at Craven Park from a Hulkingston Rovers point of view. Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook tries in his last 2 matches against Celtic Crusaders and against St Helens. He got a try here in February 2007 on the Quins' first ever visit to Craven Park, and he's come up with another try here, and with the kick to come, it looks like the Quins are going to be ahead by 12 points to 0.
Well, the dropout was very lacklustre indeed. You need a lot more than that. Look, it barely makes the 30-metre line, and they're already on the back foot. It's a problem that the Rovers have had ever since this game started, and the Quins are taking full advantage. Bang, straight through. There was no one there. It was a simple pass from Randall. Nothing complicated, basic, but effective.
Little bit of a crisis here for Rovers. They're going to be trailing by 12 points to 0 in a moment here, because I'm almost sure Danny Orr will not miss this. It's interesting that Orr has taken over the goal kicking. It's not Rob Purdom, it's Danny Orr, and Orr has pushed that wide. Well, what's wrong with Purdom? That's the question we have to ask. And suddenly the Rovers supporters find their voice trying to lift their team.
Well, Hull KR built some pressure here. This is the first kick here from Luke Gale, trapping Hull KR deep towards their own 10-metre line. There's the scrum to go from. Then there's a kick from Dobson, which by the time that Melling is tackled, gains only 10 metres for the Rovers side. They're already up and over the halfway line. And you know what, when you look at play the balls in the opposition half, 10 minutes into this game, Quins have had about 18, and Hull KR just one single play of the ball, 10 minutes of the match. Still a long way to go, Eddie, but a tremendous start by the Harlequins.
It's a fantastic start by the Harlequins. The only problem, here's a penalty for offside against Rovers. It was a great hit, but it was an illegal one because they were standing in an offside position. There's Purdom. There doesn't look anything wrong with Rob Purdom. Why is he not kicking the goals?
Remember, he got a knock very early. Remember, the big fella, Nick Fozzard, went at him, carrying the ball, went in a little bit awkward, did Purdom. Maybe he's just a bit shaken up.
Cheers.
A bang on the kick, I'm being told, so maybe just letting him run that off before the next kick at goal, perhaps. But it's cost his team 2 points. First penalty of the match, gone Harlequins' way. They're back on attack. And here's the latest try scorer, Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook. Randall waiting at dummy half. Come this way to Tamata. Wants to go inside Scott Wheeldon. Manages to do so.
Need a lot more venom in their defence, the Rovers, at the moment. You can see there, that simple flat pass, controlled by Chad Randall. Get them over the advantage line with considerable leads. They're getting 5-6 metres every time.
This Rovers not very quickly into the faces, and Danny Orr is able to scamper away from a couple of would-be tacklers there.
This should be a dink into the in-goal.
It's another penalty. And it's on the last tackle as well, and it's 10 metres or so away from the line.
Well, Fozzard and Gallier, they just rolled all over the top. Danny Orr couldn't get on with the game. He's not impressed, Justin Morgan, and he's every right to be furious. This is not the best start from the home side.
Well, it's Danny Orr, I think, who is going to do the kicking again, so there must be a problem with Purdom.
Yeah, very interesting as well that Rob Purdom as captain decided to go for the 2 points there, because the previous 2 times where they've had a repeat set from dropouts, they've come up with a try. So perhaps it would have been better to go for the throw and go for the try, but obviously they've decided to err on the side of safety and just take the 2 points.
2 points on offer here. Danny Orr missed with his first kick, but this should be academic, and it is this time. 12-0 to Quins.
It's almost a nervous play, isn't it, John? That as if, well, for the next 65 minutes we'll try and defend 12 points. I'm surprised too, though, that Harlequins have elected to do that. Hull Kingston Rovers' try-line defence has been poor in the opening 10 minutes. He maybe would have tested it again.
Well, let's get down to Rod, because news of Rob Purdom.
Yeah, speaking to the Quins medical staff, Eddie, Rob's taken a bang on his hip. They're happy to continue with him out there. No problem at all with that, but a little bit worried that his kicking leg won't really be flowing into the ball and maybe knocking the ball over as smooth as he normally does. So they're going to let him run it off and see how he goes from there and let Danny Orr do the kicking for now.
OK, and Danny Orr has missed one, he's scored one. I wonder whether perhaps that was behind Rob Purdom's theory then. If he can't kick a goal, just get Danny Orr's confidence going a little bit.
Well, he's the captain, and it was his decision, so only time will tell if it was the correct one.
Indeed so. 12-0 though. It's a healthy position for Harlequins. 15 minutes gone. Fitzhenry, there's Purdom, first to him. 6 apiece at St Helens. Saints against Castleford. Castleford led 6-0. This now is Chris Wellham for Rovers. Wellham, a 2-year contract extension last month, and lost the ball again though. Have Rovers, the usually dependable Ben Gallier with the mistake. Here is Matt Gaffer. Chev Walker got to him.
They're all at sea. They really are not combining. They're not talking to each other. You look at on that defence, you can see Fozzard came, then stopped. Anybody outside of him? No. Big concern for Morgan.
Face like thunder, and another penalty goes against Rovers. It's 3 penalties to 0 in Harlequins' favour. This time they elect to run it with John Wells.
Well, he's spot on, is Phil Bentham, the man with the whistle. You aren't allowed to touch the ball when they're trying to get up, and look at that. So easy to get towards that line.
Randall, this is a dangerous attack again, building by Harlequins, and Orr is allowed to skip away again and get the ball to Wells, and Wells then gets it across, but Webster gets in the face of Jason Golden.
Good defence as well, it had to be. They had the overlap out there. Quick hands, oh, he's knocked on.
Big mistake by David Howell, yeah.
Wasn't the best pass, but when you get quick hands like that, boom, you could see Luke Williamson, it was just dipping in front. Golden opportunity. And it'll be a very relieved home side. The Rovers they're just not at the races at the moment.
Well, maybe that was a wake-up call for them because they were very quickly in the face of David Howell and they got the reward with the mistake.
Yeah, I think Jake Webster, it's a big play that it really lifted Hull Kingston Rovers defensively, and the crowd responded as well, but they just need to get some field position and they need to get the ball in the Harlequins half.
Ooh, that was high. Should have been selected, picked up there by the official. It wasn't. McCarthy Scarsbrook definitely went for the head. Bang, and got him as well. The officials have got to pick that up.
Here's Fossard. Meanwhile, Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook scampers back into the defensive line. Dobson with the kick down the line, and that's a better kick from Dobson. That finds touch. And it was just outside the 40, not a 40-20, just over C. But a great kick from Dobson nonetheless. And they'll now hunt the mistake in Harlequins territory.
Well, it's only the second time that they've actually been down in the Quins territory, and they've got to be able to just say, right, let's dislodge it. They are absolutely stunned. It was bad enough last week against Huddersfield. They lacked a lot of zip on that for the full 80 minutes. But this has been atrocious.
It's a significant interchange, though, isn't it? Stanley Jean coming onto the field, because I'm sure Justin Morgan will see him as a catalyst to enthuse the Rovers side.
They've won 5 from 7 Super League matches here. Only Leeds and Huddersfield have won here in the Super League. Warrington, of course, as well in the Cup.
Well, I agree with John Keir in regards that when you throw out Stanley Jean, he really has this ability to lift the side. And oh, that's play on, that'll be scrubbed down, head and feed. He'd already blown at the official, the fans don't like it. But Mr. Bentham already had given the P a bit of a warble. And it was good work by Jean, went for the ball carrying arm.
Is that a knock on then by Stanley Jean?
Well, he went for the ball.
I think he went for the arm.
Looked like he went for the ball. The thing is, he's given head and feed to Hull KR. It should have been play on. He was a bit quick on the whistle there.
Oh, he took it for the ball, yeah. Well spotted, Clarkey.
Here's a penalty now, the first for Hull KR. And ironic cheering from the terraces. They're not going to kick this. They're going to run this. They have to. And it's Scott Wheeldon in possession. Morrell is the dummy half.
We haven't seen any combination. Paul Cook, Michael Dobson, now we'll see it.
This is Clint Newton.
They'll do another run.
Morrell again. Here is Dobson. Back it comes to Paul Cook. And Cook tries to go inside Danny Orr. And now the second penalty against Harlequins in quick succession. That's offside as well.
Another quick tap. Don't go for the 2. They need to build their confidence, and that has got to be with ball in hand.
Go.
So here they come again, this time in the shape of Jason Netherton.
4 feet.
Scott Morrell, dummy half, will give it to Ben Gallier. Gallier will find Dobson. Dobson then spreads it to Fitzhenry. Here is Webster. Oh, I put it behind James Haynes.
Well, I think Haynes was in front. Inexperience there. And you see he had to reach back for it, and that just shows you that at this level, the pressure, you've got to understand, look, it's virtually in front of him. If it had been a metre behind, he knows it.
He'll have to go
exactly right, Steve. Well, wasn't it good centre play from Jake Webster? He went at his own centre, then he just skipped outside him, interested the winger from Harlequins, and really that should have been a try with a little bit of composure from the youngster Haynes.
And wait.
Only Orr being treated behind the sticks. Looks like she's got a bang on the top of the head. Meanwhile, well, the emergence of number 14 there, just running out of your picture, Stanley Jean, has certainly lifted Rovers' spirits. And there he is again, involved in that second tackle of this set of 6.
Go.
Here comes John Wells again.
Third.
Well, it looks as though Rovers have woken up. Stanley's arrived with an alarm clock.
40.
Kick down the middle into the arms of Daniel Fitzhenry. Good chase, though, from Harlequins.
Dominant.
Excellent chase.
But you're correct, Eddie, they have woken up, because look where the first tackle is. It's just on the halfway line, and that was because of a more intense defensive effort by Hull Kingston Rovers.
Stanley Jean knows one way, and that's straight at the man. If he's in the way, he'll run straight over the top of him if he can. Dobson back on the inside to Webster again.
4. Move!
Well spotted there by Golden. Knew the inside pass was on. That's great defence.
5.
Williams came in on the angle.
Wait.
Just made sure that the halfback went down the centre.
Gallia dabs the ball towards the in-goal area. And he's held is Will Sharp, says the referee.
Oh, that was a high one.
Dobson.
And he's been caught as well.
Gale felt that.
Bang. Straight in the mush. Well spotted by Bentham.
Go change your shirt.
Danny Orr has got blood all over his shirt, and I'm not so sure about the headgear, but still, at least it's stemmed the flow, but the shirt's got to be changed.
Hold.
He looks like he's got a bad dose of the toothache, doesn't he?
1. Move!
So it's Harlequins in possession. That was Daniel Heckenberg who played the ball there.
Is it that O'Malley's ghost, was it, Eddie?
Yeah, it might be, John, you're right. Tamata again gets the ball away, and that's Luke Williamson. Let's quickly go down to Rod.
Yeah, Danny Orr's got a cut on the top of his head, Eddie. I know that's fairly obvious from where the bandage is, but a little bit of blood about there. Nothing too serious. They're just going to monitor it as it goes along, and now he's coming off to change his shirt. But it's not a serious cut. It's not a serious injury.
Well, he's been told to change the shirt, and I don't know whether they just sprayed some water on him and hoped that the referee would think it was okay because it was a little diluted. And he's been sent off to change the jersey again. Not the best kick. Fitzhenry allowed that to run dead. Here come Rovers in the shape of Fozzard.
I think one of the problems for the Quins is they didn't quite have a shirt ready for Danny Orr to come back on.
He's now wearing number 15. His name has suddenly been changed to Ben Kay. So we'll have to watch that very carefully, won't we? Well, I think we'll know it's Danny Orr by the headgear. Dobson with a dab behind the line. John Wells comes across. A nasty little bounce, great chase from Dobson.
Oh, super stuff. That has lifted the team and the crowd as well. Oh, went for the big hit.
Stanley Winter looking.
Good job he missed. Oh, great pass.
Gale, and another good ball from him to David Howell. He goes inside Gallia, he goes inside the youngster Haynes, and he's pulled down. Well, another shirt for Danny Orr. Meanwhile, another penalty for Harlequins.
Well, the official's got to bring the captain. I mean, this is about 5 or 6, and you see that's a throttle. David Howell saying, look, sir, and Sir looked and gave the penalty.
Michele Ezu. So both Rovers, Papua New Guinean internationals on the field now. Michele Ezu and Stanley Jean, who look quite similar from this distance, don't they, Steve-O?
They certainly do.
A little story about that. Well, Michele was coming down a street in Australia in the World Cup, and Steve-O said, "Hi, Stanley, how are you going?" This is Wells. It was a very, very understandable mistake. Randall, good hands, Purdon.
Good tackle as well.
Thunder to the ground. Randall again. There's Danny Orr, correctly numbered now. Last tackle.
Dink again into the in-goal area.
Randall does that, it bounces off the legs, and they got away with it. But they're having to run this ball from deep. Rovers, Wellham, quick play the ball. Not sure it was perfectly legal. Not sure that Harlequins have got back the 10 either.
It wasn't a bad tackle, was it? That's the difference between the two sides. The impact from the visitors' Quins, much stronger in their defensive line. They're gone as a unit.
And Gallia will play the ball. Fitzhenry will hump it downfield.
Not a bad one either. Or maybe too long, no.
Eddie, this is a player who I thought should have been in Paris here in a hotel preparing for the test match tomorrow. Will Sharp's impressed me so much this season, and I wouldn't rule him out. Perhaps at the end of the year, featuring in the Four Nations. He's not had a chance to do much tonight. He hasn't done anything wrong in 25 minutes, but he is a player who really excites me.
Yes, Will Sharp isn't there, but plenty of other proud Englishmen are. It's France against England, 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Sky Sports 2, after Wakefield and Hull FC have settled their differences. And that's a tasty little match for our guest tonight, of course. Always likes to put one over the old club, don't you, John, if possible?
If possible, yeah, it'll be a very, very tough game, a very competitive game, and one that we're really looking forward to.
Well, he won't be impressed with that. That was a nothing kick right down the throat of Daniel Fitzhenry.
Cook at dummy half, and young Haynes has come off the wing in search of a little bit of work. And well, welcome to the Super League, young man. Here's Netherton again.
Surrender! Stand! Free!
Ben Fisher is on for Hull Kingston Rovers. He might liven them up a little bit from around the play of the ball.
And it's not a bad move as well by the coach, Morgan, just to ensure that they're a little bit more active around that play of the ball area. You can see that when the Quins have it, the Chad Randall is controlling it. But much better kick and chase. The last three have been superb.
Good.
Melling with the pass in field, and Will Sharp again.
Second. Move.
He looks dangerous when he's got that ball in his hand, doesn't he? And this is Matt Gaffer again.
Square stand. Go. Back up.
And well, Hull Kingston Rovers have only had the ball in Harlequins territory for 3 minutes so far.
Jason.
And they're not going to have it in the opposition half now, because this is a penalty to Harlequins for another high swinging arm.
Well, the lack of discipline from the Rovers in this opening 27 minutes has been extremely poor. Mr. Morgan, as we mentioned, got a real big problem. And as yet, only once in this first half have we seen any combination from Cook and Dobson, mainly due to the fact they just haven't had the possession.
Heckenberg it is for Harlequins, grounded 29 metres away from the Hull Kingston Rovers line. That's Randall. Louis McCarthy scars Brook.
Again, that short, flat pass.
Go.
Randall gets the ball away. Gale steps out of Galea's would-be challenge. Can't get away from Netherton.
Move. Yeah. Go.
Here's Randall. Short ball to Wells. He tried to spin away. Good job that Newton was there. This is a good passage of play from Williamson. He hands it on to Howell. There's Randall. They go wide, and Sharp is in. I think Will Sharp this will be given, providing he didn't collide with the flag over in the corner. I'm not so sure looking at his face. I'm not so sure looking at his body language. But
I think he's got it. He's got it. That is a fantastic effort. Well, he didn't look confident at all, but there's the apex of the ball on the whitewash. No problems whatsoever. Well before he takes out the corner post. And Will Sharp has taken the Quins into their third try of the game. And it all came about by yet indiscipline from the home side. The Rovers fans are absolutely stunned. This will be confirmation for sure.
Richard Silverwood is tonight's video referee, watching the pictures you've just been watching, and Will Sharp now has got a smile on his face, and the try is given. He wasn't convincing, was he, with his look, his frown and his body language, but as soon as he saw the replays, he knew that that try was going to be given the green light. And well, for all of his great form this year, it's only Will Sharp's second try of the campaign.
Look at that, the quick pass, missed out two would-be attackers. That is fantastic stuff from Randall. So tight, they had the numbers there. Misses one, not two, but then he gets into the corner. That is wonderful effort. We mentioned before the game kicked off, Chad Randall is in superb form.
Well, it's a real cut on the head of Danny Orr, isn't it? And he's taking the kicking responsibilities again here, way out on the far side, right on the touch line. And can he just drift this over? This would be a real bonus if he does. He's kicked well in his career, and he has kicked brilliantly there. Well, it's 18-0 to Harlequins, and Rovers supporters are stunned.
And fully deserved. Quick hands, but the beautiful pass went right across the face of two would-be attackers, straight into the arms of Mr. Sharp. There you go. They had the numbers. How's that for quick thinking? Bang. Great finish.
Well, that was a great pass, Steve-O, but I thought his distribution in the lead-up play had been superb. There was 1 or 2 calls from the patriotic Hull Kingston Rovers fans for forward passes, but they weren't forward. They were just beautifully timed and beautifully weighted passes from the hooker.
It seems to be the, shall we say, the norm these days, John, in regards to that, you know, this flat pass gets you over the advantage line very, very quickly. And, of course, they want to get up and play the ball quickly, too.
Exactly right, and Randall's a master at just engaging one of the markers and just pulling a runner onto the ball.
It's becoming a pretty torrid night for Hull Kingston Rovers. The team immediately above them in the table, St Helens, you've probably just seen there. They are 20 points to 6 to the good against the Castleford Tigers. Saints could easily open up a 5-point lead on the rest here tonight. That's well claimed by Haynes.
Good positioning by the young winger as well.
Here's Fitzhenry.
Now, Rovers need someone to just say, hey, come on, I will take on the responsibility here. They need someone, make the clean breaks, something to just lift their spirits. Good endeavour, hard work, will only get you so much. They need something a little bit different.
Ben Fisher, little scampering run from him, only makes 10 metres forward. And that's Galea, who gives the ball to Makeli Ezu again.
Well, Cook's shouting for it. He'll be the first receiver. Chip over the top. No, they've gone the other way.
To Dobson, who will hoist the high kick. Paul Cook been fairly anonymous so far tonight. Well claimed by John Wells.
Sensational take. That shows you the determination. It's mine. He knew that there was someone there. He could see that his own player, but no, he was not going to hold back. Straight into the breadbasket.
John Wills, no stranger to the fullback role. He's been in that position for the last couple of matches anyway. 6 seasons in London now.
Well, there's a problem for a Rovers player. Can't just see who it is, but
Nick Fossard put his hand up immediately. I think there's something in his lower leg. Is it his knee?
He did not move when he went. He just went, sat down on his backside, raised the arm.
Well, they're asking for a stretcher to come out, and this is a big blow to Nick Fossard. In his 300th career appearance. It's taken him 15 years to reach that because his career has been blighted by injury and illness. He began against Leeds, or rather 4 Leeds against St Helens in 1994.
He just falls away, doesn't he? He knows that something has snapped.
You get the impression that he's had this happen to him before because he was almost instructing the physio what to do. He knew so much about this injury.
He rings, he heard it snap.
Well, I think he's just said, I heard something snap when it fell over, and he's just sat up. He doesn't seem in any pain whatsoever, but he must be, and now you can see. He obviously felt something. There was no contact, was there? It's obviously something that's just gone.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting up and telling the physio what to do and how to treat him. He's tough as teak, is Nick Fossard.
Well, that's a big blow for the Rovers.
He was with St Helens, of course, in 2008. Had service with Warrington as well, and Huddersfield in his career. And it is a blow. It's a major blow for Rovers, one of their frontline forwards having to leave the field.
And for how many years has this guy had to overcome injury upon injury? His determination.
But he already came onto the field with a black eye.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to get on the stretcher.
He's going to play on.
They're not making any move to take him off the field yet, are they? Now they are. They're putting the arms. They're saying, "Come on, Nick, let's just have a look at it. Come off, and we'll maybe sort you out." He's got to go.
Well, I don't know why they haven't put him on the stretcher. I mean, surely that could injure him even further. I mean,
some players have it's about pride, though, isn't it? They hate the thought of being stretchered off the field, and you try and breed a mental toughness in your player, not to show any sign of weakness or suffer any pain. Here's the knee here. As it hits the floor, it's after the contact. As the left foot hits the floor, it hyperextends backwards, I think.
Well, he's walking gingerly off the field. It's taking him a bit of a time to go. But he's laughing and joking.
Oh,
with
he's a character. He really is a character, this fella. A credit to the game. Tough as teak.
Meanwhile, game now continues, and Heckenberg will drive it in for Harlequins. They've got a bit of a problem then on the bench now, haven't they, Rovers? It's a good kick.
Great kick. Wonderful kick.
Luke Gale.
He's handled himself very well indeed, hasn't he? It's a, you know, you got an 18-point lead. You don't have to play anything fancy. Just play that percentage, kick it into the corner time and time again. It may become monotonous, but boy, it's affecting. You've got to take it out of John to where the Brian McDermott has moulded this outfit.
Exactly right. He's got a winning formula, hasn't he? That defensively they're outstanding. I don't think they've missed one tackle yet in the first half. The kicking game's superb, so they're applying field position, and when they're getting ball in hand in good field position, they're being clinical, taking the chances.
And did you think kicking for the touchline though has been a good result for them? Would it have been better if the ball had stayed in play and the winger Haynes had to pick it up and scuttle back infield? As it was from the scrum, they've made a good 10 metres and cut through the hole.
He is. Paul Cook comes into the match and finds Fitzhenry. And Fitzhenry, he hadn't got the confidence, he hadn't got the pace, and Randall took him from behind. Ianson waits at dummy half, and he finds Dobson, and Dobson with a raging pass, and Galea puts it down. That sums up Rovers' night. Ben Galea is the most reliable of players, and Ben Galea has just put that ball on the floor.
Well, the first real quality from Rovers was the break from Paul Cook. Magnificent dummy, went right the way through, didn't have the legs, but had the support. But what about the cover tackle from Chad Randall?
Mistake from Galea, but a problem here for Daniel Fitzhenry, because he got a real clatter from behind, and he's trying to run an injury off as well. But Nick Fossard's off the field. Rodstad.
I just spoke to Nick as he limped off, Eddie. He confirmed it was his left ankle, but just to emphasise his toughness, we saw the seriousness of the injury, and he just said, oh, it's not too bad. I thought it was worse than that, as he went into the changing room. I don't think he'll come back tonight, but it isn't serious. And just to alert you to the fact that Rob Purdham has gone off for Quins as well. That hit is still causing him problems, and they've taken him back into the dressing sheds to have a little look at it.
Well, this is an opportunity now for Rovers. The crowd doing their best on that far side, the popular side here, to try and raise their spirits. This is Welham. Not only raise the spirits of their players, raise their own spirits, I think. And this is Stanley Jean! And Stanley Jean! Now then, that ball shot out, but I think Phil Bentham's convinced the touchdown was okay. No problems. Stanley Jean. Well, he has breathed life into Rovers since he came off the bench, and his try breathes life into their challenge here tonight.
Well, that surprises me that he does not go to the screen on this one. I think he loses it. There is a split second where it certainly leaves his hands, but it's just what they needed, the Rovers. They have been very sluggish throughout this first half, and that could be just what they needed. Right the way through, but I think he loses it at the last minute. We'll see it better from this angle. Superb run, wasn't it? See how he swatched the ball. Oh, that is a knock-on. Watch it lose. He loses it. That is a knock-on that should never have been given, and I am so surprised that Bentham didn't go upstairs for that.
And Dobson hits the post. Well, Steve-O spotted it. He's the only one here, I think, in the ground that did. And Stanley Jean got up and celebrated immediately. There's a lot, of course, is told by the body language, but there is no doubt he has lost that ball in the tackle from Louis McCarthy-Scarisbrook. I thought when the ball just bounced back away that Mr. Bentham might hand it upstairs to Richard Silverwood. He didn't. He has to make a decision every now and again, as all referees do. So let's not get on his back too much. But he didn't hand it upstairs, and the technology is here.
It's there, but Justin Morgan, he will not be complaining at all, because that could just be the lift that they needed just before the half-time break. He's furious at Brian McDermott.
He might well be furious with the outcome, Steve O'Brien. He'll be absolutely delighted with Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook's effort. It was a sensational effort, you know, chasing back Stanley Jean. And if it would have gone to the video ref, that effort would have been rewarded with a try-saving tackle.
Well, Stanley Jean's try, as it turns out, should never have been given. But, hey, that's life. And Cook with the kick down the middle, over the head of Will Sharp. And eventually it comes into the winger's hands, and here now is Wells. He's surrounded by four. The try from Stanley Jean's energised Hulkingston Rovers. Here's Sharp again, Wheeldon to him, finished off by Fisher.
I think that's the reason why we saw Brian McDermott down on the touchline. He would have been getting the message out to him and saying, listen, just ignore that, get it out of your mind, don't let it dwell on it, just do not. Make sure we've got a job. We've 18-4, we can get back into the game, okay? The rub of the green has gone against us.
I tell you what, if Harlequins lose by 4 points, he won't put it to the back of his mind. Kick down the field, turns them around. Hansen is there and picks it up eventually on his own goal line. And here is a great tackle from Melling.
Here, go.
It's just been the difference, Eddie, between the two sides. You know, the Rovers kick and chase has been average at best, but the Quins, they are just near perfect with it.
Risky business from Chef Walker. Good job that Welland plucked the ball out of the air. Strong run forward that was. Here is Cook again. He's just injected himself a couple of times, and each one has been a little nugget from Paul Cook. This is Galea. Last tackle though for Rovers. Dobson. They're running it. Dobson dabs it through. Inventive play from Dobson. Flings the ball inside. Williamson knocks the ball backwards. There was nobody there.
Wonderful work by the halfback, Michael Dobson. Little trickle through, got the bounce, but as Eddie had mentioned, the second phase just weren't smart enough.
Let's have a look here if we can. I wonder, is Phil Bentham? I wonder whether he thought Phil Bentham was one of his players.
Well, we mentioned before the kickoff, something's got to be done at half-time about the colour that Bentham is wearing.
I'm sure that Stuart Cummings, the referee's boss, will be on the phone and just checking whether he's got any more jerseys with him. That ball's come through. Surely that was a knock-on, was it?
No, it's a forward pass.
A good pass.
It wasn't a knock-on, it was a forward. Oh, it looks like there's a problem for Webster as well. He went down awkward.
Well, they've got men out wide. Jansen with a kick to the corner. It's going to be a try here.
Yes.
No, it isn't. It's not down yet. Howell has not got that ball down. This one will go upstairs.
Last tackle.
Well, what a great take. Now, we couldn't see. And I'm sure that Phil Bentham, he couldn't see either, but Howell took it.
Well, it looked like a forward pass, didn't it? That's why I thought it was a knock-on, but the referee said no, we can't even look at that now.
He's onside. That's fine. Let's go to see if he's got the ball down. It was a great take. He spins around, tries to spin around, he hits the deck. He's going for the football, no doubt about that. James Haynes is pushed out of the way, and does he get it down? Does he get it down? Does he? Oh, this is difficult.
Well, benefit of doubt, but
yes,
you give benefit of doubt to the defenders or the attackers.
Try, Eddie, that's a try. You've got to give the... I mean, eventually, he's still moving, he's still moving.
Yeah. It's down. I'm with you, Phil. Now, remember, this is slow motion. So it looks as though the man perhaps had been held up. He's fighting, he's every right to do that within the game. And I think he gets it down.
You're not one of these, Eddie, who wants to keep disallowing tries, are you?
No, I'm not, but I know what the Rovers supporters are going to say about this.
Try.
The ball's on the deck now.
That's a try.
Well, they got the try, did Hull KR when they shouldn't, and Harlequins have got the try when they should, but listen to the Rovers supporters, they're not convinced. I'm not so sure that the people over on the far side could see the pictures clearly enough in our big screen. The face is sort of a little bit away from them, but it was down, there's no doubt about that. And if you use benefit of the doubt, even without the final frame where the ball hit the deck, you had to give it.
They were always going to be in trouble, weren't they? Kick over the top, good stuff from Luke Gale again. And Howell says, I will struggle. I'll make sure that we get something right here. He's played his part, hasn't he, the youngster Luke Gale, at half-back. The kick was superb. The finish took a while, but he got it down.
Well, Danny Orr kicked one earlier from off the touchline. This, by dint of the fact that it is just a couple of metres in from touch on that far side, is slightly easier. 2 from 3. And this to give Harlequins a really convincing interval lead. It's not bad as it is. He's trying to drift it over the bar, and it's in off the post. 24 points to 4, Harlequins lead. And the boos ring around. Craven